You're tuned into Taiwan Grooves. Let's explore the local music scene. Hello and welcome back to Taiwan Grooves. Today's interview is part 2 with King Sing and Falk from Sonus de Gaia. In the first part of our interview, we found out how the band came to exist and what members it consists of. And at the end, we finished the episode with discussing the obstacles of having members in different places and the importance of the understanding that happens between musicians when they're in the same room. Soon we'll continue to answer that question, as well as what clever ways can the band do to promote their music and reach a broader audience. But first, enjoy the last track of their latest album titled Sonus de Gaia. Yes,
like this.
exactly why I ask, because when you say that a couple of members are on pause or in different countries, so I'm wondering how it works. But then it's good to see that you have been a band for a while now, and the project is still going on, regardless of if there's some new addition or somebody's on pause. It's still going strong, because that's kind of what is a big issue nowadays, to get people in the same room to work on something, because everybody's busy. It's not like everybody's sitting on a treasure chest and has unlimited time, right? So you have to prioritize. Apparently you guys are doing a very good job to putting it together. And
I mean, basically just what you said, it's a matter of priorities. If you really want that, it's still possible. It's like nobody stops you from being together in a room. It's just you have to set the right priorities. And if you know about the importance of this, and if you believe in this, then you will put these priorities right, I guess.
Right. Good. Personal question aim for you too would be, if you can recall a memory, because you guys said that you have performed in a bunch of places now. Do you recall perhaps a favorite memory of a performance? I know that every performance might be different and also very enjoyable, but do you have anything that stands out from the rest of, like, the best connection with the audience, the best feeling on stage, the largest crowd, whatever it can be? That would be my first question. And another one perhaps like with a interaction with a fan, if you have a specific one, somebody coming to shake hand.
There could be many, or could be one. The final concert in 2020, I think, 2020. There's a concert, which is a final concert of the first album, located in Riverside. Riverside, Ximen. We start to put musicians together. In the very beginning, it was just only me and José. We as players a duo. And then we start to think, okay, we need more musicians to perform as an album music, as a band, and start to find the musicians that we know around. At the same time, we got ticket box pressure, like who will come to see us? We don't even know if we can get so many audience or make balance for the ticket box, or a lot of spending. You got to hire a lot of people to complete everything. At the same time, at that day, there are a lot of co-workers, like promoters, teachers, or different audience to join. I just realized for this age to make music and also share to our friends, also the fans, is the most happiness. We don't need to sell a lot of CDs or commercial stuff. Whenever we can share as an artist, it's good enough. So the feeling and the vibe create a certain energy for the people that night. They got really good compliment and good memory. And the Riverside concert, like 5 years ago.
Still there clearly in your memory bank.
No, it was actually the concert where I saw the band.
You saw the band.
First time.
That's where you fell in love and you think, I need to get in.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, sure, it depends very often on the kind of audience you have. I mean, very often we are in a situation where we have to conquer the audience. Of course, once you're not so known yet, or once you're not established and have your fan base and whatever, then most of the audience doesn't know you. So you have to conquer them in a way, and that is takes quite a lot of energy usually. But I think in this particular situation, it is very important that you have this strong cohesion on stage between the band, because then you literally play the music first for yourself. And that is not even so egoistic like it sounds, because only if you can enjoy the music yourself really well, then it's possible for the people
Very
also
true.
to enjoy it. When you actually think about the audience while you're playing, you're already lost. You will never get to the core of your musicality or what you actually want to be. So in that sense, it protects you in a way when you really focus on the joy of the music. And for me personally, since I only joined later, basically, I remember the concert we did last spring. That was the spring jazz concert in New Taipei City, in that
New
big
Taipei City.
What's the Chinese name? Or forgot
It's
that.
in Sanchong, and the name is 春分节.
You know that it's like a pretty big stage, and in that big flooding part in New Taipei City. There, for me personally, was the first time that the band was really one. we were totally, it was just going. And there, of course, there was not that much connection with the audience, because first of all, the audience is very far. That is a big difference to that concert what King Sing just described, because this was a lot of friends and already fans, family even, so many people, you know. Of course, it's a whole different situation. It's like, I remember my exam concert at a college where the room was filled with just friends and study colleagues and as a commilitones and everything.
Definitely
And
different.
and people were telling me, yeah, this will be the easiest concert of your life. The hardest maybe too from a certain perspective, but also the easiest because everyone loves you anyways. And that is not the case in later concerts. And this was very true. Like, we have to work.
I would like to ask you, now that you create music, you put out albums, you have some fan base, how do you, or what efforts do you do to market and promote yourself to get new people to discover your music? Even being in Sanchong's Park, you know, you let the music speak for yourself and just you let your music do the whole persuading, and whoever likes it will come closer, will listen. So is there any conscious effort that you're doing to make yourself more visible to the world?
Wow, it's very tricky and a lot of work. We're trying to do almost everything. You know, we play like solo or like a duo. We play as a trio. In the concert, we produce the music, and then we start to think of, okay, what kind of format? Are we going to release CD or not? Or vinyls? Or what? Like, you know, to reach more audience who are still using CDs. Or between the COVID from 2019, there are 3 years we are locked in the house, and we start to think, okay, if we couldn't perform like outdoor concert or in a venue, what should we do? Should we just do a video streaming and start to connect with more people? For those effort is just trying to promote and trying to extend our music, because all the physical format will be destroyed in any way. If there's a fire, can burn down anything. So people won't have the physical format to listen to your stuff. And then we start to think, okay, we can perform in front of the people. We can use the internet. We can go to the broadcasting radio, TV shows. Yeah, try many different ways to broadcast our concept or thinking. So those efforts are always changing by the conditions. Sometimes we don't have money to produce. Then we start to think, okay, what should we do next? Find some way to do the promotion.
It's tricky nowadays with promotion because people focus very much on like the typical platforms, like be it Instagram or Facebook, whatever. But I think we all agree that meanwhile, there's not much very reality in this. Since 20 years, you can buy your Facebook likes in India. So to get really real involved and engaged audience is not easy. It's difficult on YouTube. It's difficult on all these platforms. And there's of course now everyone concentrates on streaming because everyone thinks, yeah, but we hear that sometimes, like people saying, yeah, but look, your music can be heard everywhere in all countries on the world and everywhere. So isn't that the best marketing? And there is something what people do not understand, that you still look at this thing with the eyes of the 90s. Because in the 90s, if your music would be played in all these countries, you would have a certain chance of getting a concert there, maybe. Because that's what we actually want to do, right? We don't want to. For me, I don't want to be famous. I want to play concerts. I would like to play concerts in all countries in the world, but that's my main focus, my main goal. So in that sense, it would still work if you think like the 90s, but it's not like the 90s anymore. The problem is that, yes, everyone can hear our music, but everyone can also hear like 10 million
Everyone's
other
music.
So it has basically zero effect. So this effect that people say, okay, put your stuff on Spotify and you get your promotion, it's unfortunately not the reality. It's not really promotion, because then it depends on algorithms and on money at the end, even on power of the label or things like this, that you even get heard in more than others, for example. So I don't think that anyone has a real conclusion, but for myself, I would say focus on the playing, because that after all is the really core connection you can have with an audience. So just need to find a way to play as much as possible and be seen and be experienced from as many as possible people. Of course, doesn't still cover the problem of traveling in other countries and having a lot of travel expenses and stuff like this. How to cover all of this?
That's future you to figure it out.
Yeah.
But at least you're putting in the effort, you know. Because a lot of people who I ask, they just told me like having talent and good music is not enough today. Like it's not suddenly people are gonna find you in some random playlist on Spotify and you'll get thousands, millions of clicks, right? That's when you realize that having a good, perhaps like a promotion game, marketing or something, is a huge part of your success or listenership. You know, just being curious and thinking out loud, like what's the things you can do? I don't want to hear maybe a step by step, but at least that you're doing something. You try to reach people who listen vinyl, you do CD, you do of course normal social media, everything. So you play in different countries to people who walk by. That's already doing pretty much what you can be doing. So I hope it brings people. All right, I would like to switch focus to some of your work. Have you published anything recently? An album, EP?
The first one is 2020, and
First album, 2020.
now we got the new one from 2024,
December,
Luminous Echoes.
This was December.
Yeah,
Right?
just
Yes. 1 month ago.
months ago.
Very,
1 month
very
ago.
fresh.
1 month ago. Yes.
How does it feel to have it out there after 4 years?
Most songs written by him. So
Well, as a producer, you just like put down the big rock on your back, and there's a lot of confirmation, you know, like you got to check all the songs in so many times, in so many reasons. Sometimes because the lyrics, translation, song quality, the product, the printing, many times you got to check it. It's also milestone, like, okay, we have this product here, and we start to think of, okay, who will need this? Where does it go? Because once you go into sell it, you got to think of, okay, I might need the cardboard box, like in which size, and how many can we carry on the transportation. If we want to sell it to Spain or Dominican Republic, like how many should we send it to? How can we get profit from that? So I start to think of, okay, if we go back to the start point, you won't make more mistake anymore. Like the first album, we spent 5 years because there are so many mistakes, and then we start to take a lot of time to figure out like how many songs should be in the album.
Right.
If it's a concept album, how to complete the whole concept.
To make the stories connected.
Yeah. If it's too long, we made a problem like, okay, if we want to put all the songs into a vinyl, it won't fit because there are too many songs. You got to take, you know, the orders around to make 17 minutes fit in two sides for a vinyl. And once we have vinyl, we have to think, oh, who is going to buy the vinyls? We spend so much money to create a vinyl. So it's a learning process. You will have a lot to learn during the production. You got to arrange your time for all the co-workers, band members, or even yourself. You got to figure out the quality. You got to check the budget. It's always like a triangle, you know, which is bigger, which is less. Then you just realize if we can design the composition from very beginning very well, you might won't miss so many problems in the end or in the process. That's the most difficult part because life is a journey and music is a journey too. Sometimes there's just some situation or some accident you couldn't really
Dissipate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's trial and error, as you say. You learn from mistakes, and I'm pretty sure the second album was just tad easier, like a little bit slightly more smoother because you knew, hey, I'm not going to repeat this one again.
more efficient.
More efficient.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So now it's good that you have the product out and the inner musician in you can rest for a little bit. You don't have to write anymore. And now it's time to wake up the businessman in you.
Yeah, our favorite activity.
Yay. Hey, you do it for maybe, hopefully, one more time, and then hopefully you'll have a person who will do it for you.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's the dream, yeah.
That's the dream.
That's the actual dream.
Don't give up on the dream.
Just outsource this.
Okay, I do have two more questions. What message would you like to convey? Like when you make this music, and even if you hear it or the listener, what would you hope that they gain from this?
What we want to convey, it's almost the same thing. It's what I said earlier, like maybe that is a little bit more individual, but for me, the emotional content of music is the absolute core. It's the most important thing. So, and this is very clearly what I want to convey. I want to create an emotion, whatever emotion it actually is. And it might not have to do with what emotion I had when I would write it, when I got inspired or not, or whatever, how I wrote a song.
Yes.
Might not have to do with that at all, but an emotion. And that is really great, amazing strength of music, that it can do that. And this is where it is also so international. It does not matter if you have heard ever any Taiwanese Aboriginal song before, if you know how that works, what the form is, it does not matter at all. When you hear it and you get touched by it, that's simply all that counts.
Well said. It's kind of maybe bad from my side to ask in this way, what do you try to convey? Because you put it very nicely. It's not like you want to give a shape so everybody feels happy or outraged or something, but rather to have the listener to take whatever they can. So same question.
when I'm trying to name the album name, I was thinking, because we start to compose this album from 2022, which is after the COVID situation globally. And also, there are a lot of disasters, like fire and flooding, earthquake, or even tsunami, more and more around the world. So we are expressing those feelings as artists, as musicians. Hopefully, there's a light in front of us can lead us go through all this global situation right now. As you see, the LA fires, it's not even stopped yet. When we are talking in an interview, they are numbness, lives and fuel are burning right now. So we couldn't require people how to feel with our music. You just give the music and invite people to listen to it. Be welcome to give us more suggestion or idea. We'll be humble and waiting for that. For me, to produce or to compose the music, it's just like planting a seed on the ground. You can take care of your plants, but you couldn't really expect it will live forever or become big trees. Maybe just let it go. Work as much as you can.
Now, just last question for you, since any words of wisdom, any advice that you would like to pass on to future musicians?
If I could give an advice, then it would be that to not think about the audience, to not try to. I mean, I know it is a contradiction to the pressure we have, like the financial pressure, of course, because producing an album like this is just unimaginably expensive. I think most people have no idea what this album, with all this effort around, what this would cost. And of course, we have this pressure, but I hope it doesn't go too much astray now. But I heard a very, very interesting interview today of the Apple guy, Steve Jobs, when he was young. He was saying the biggest mistake most people make, they focus on the process instead of the content. And this applies so much to music as well. If you only focus on how to market the music, what audience you would have to want to listen to it, you lose the focus on the content. And the content can only come from within yourself. And it is, in fact, at first unrelated to the audience, but ironically, the stronger your content is, the more potential you have to actually get an audience.
Well, to be a musician is a really good job, actually. As I play in so many different concerts and different countries for different people, it's really good to share the music with people, even if it's just one person or some people or a lot of people in the stadium. But at the same time, you got to be prepared, right? You got to practice, you got to dress nice and be really focused on your trip. Don't get hurt. So everything you have the energy, but At the same time, you got really decent and arrange your schedule, be practical, and practice your instrument every day as any jobs. You got to be there and then punch your card to show up, play it as many hours as you need. You can be good on the stage and then share your music in a good way. That's it.
And that concludes our two-part interview with two members of the band Sonus de Gaia. Thank you guys for listening and tuning in. And if you enjoy the music they produce, I highly recommend you go and search them up or head over to our website, give a proper listen to their songs, and support what they're doing. We still have a little bit of time left and can afford a little preview of another one of their songs from the latest album called Luminous Echoes. And this is the track titled Fogar da Estrela. Thank you very much and goodbye.